Can you imagine having this happen on your big off-road adventure? Oh, no. I mean, how bad is that? Absolutely ruined their day, no doubt about it. But let's unpack this and see what we can learn from this negative situation. In my Reacts videos, what I want to do is give you information that I think will help us all when we're off-road. So how can we learn from this situation? Well, we're going to go through this step by step, and along the way I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to talk to you about what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking as we walk through this situation. Now, this is going to go through not only the rollover, but also the recovery where they put the vehicle back onto its wheels. Let's watch as old mate starts to drop into Palm Creek. Now, this is up Cape York in Northern Australia. It's one of the iconic four-wheel drive destinations. We all love to go there. I've done this crossing many times over the years, and it is good fun. It's a lot of fun, but as you can see, things do go wrong. After we watch this, we're going to then watch the recovery, because they actually pull the vehicle back onto its wheels, and there's a lot of interesting learning points and observations we can make in the recovery as well. So let's start with dropping into Palm Creek. So he's most likely in first gear low range. I suspect he's a manual vehicle, I don't know. He's dropping in, he'll be hard on the brakes, and let's pause it right there. At this moment, there's a couple of reasons why you could roll over. Firstly is the approach angle of the vehicle is not sufficient. And so the front of the vehicle basically hits the bottom of the hill or the climb or the descent, hits the bottom and stops. And the inertia in the back of the vehicle is enough to carry it over onto its roof. So that's one reason that a vehicle will do this and front flip like we're seeing. I don't think that's what actually happens in this situation. And I had to watch the video through a few times to observe this. I think what's happened is old mate's hard on the brakes. He's got that little slip at the down, which puts a lot of inertia into the vehicle and into the back of the vehicle, of course, and it gives him that motion. Now, he's hard on the brake, and also the weight of his body and his leg is hard on the brake pedal. And if he's not used to driving in this sort of environment, which, let's face it, who is, he may well have overpressured the brake pedal, and therefore the wheels being locked up with all of that weight and pressure on there have been sufficient for the front wheels to lock the vehicle at the bottom of the climb and basically give it the motion to go over upside down. What we do when, like I've had situations like this when I'm racing where I'm dropping down vertical cliffs and stuff, I've got better approach angle, but what we do is we're ready to power on and power the front out from the climb, and that's how you drive these sorts of obstacles. You drop in, and then right before the front, or as the front hits the bottom, you feed a bit of power on and drive the front out from underneath the vehicle. I think that would have worked in this situation. I think that would have kept him on his wheels. Obviously, I'm not there. I wasn't there to see it. I wasn't driving the vehicle, and I've only got this one angle to look at. But that's my suspicion. It doesn't look to me like the front of the vehicle is what tipped him over. It looks to me like being hard on the brake pedal is what's tipped him over. The other thing is, we call it COG, center of gravity. The center of gravity of this vehicle is really high, and there's two reasons I know that. It's got a spare tyre at the highest point of the vehicle. That in itself makes the vehicle very tippy. The second is he's got a rooftop tent up high and he's got an awning. Now, a rooftop tent of that side, type, a hard shell, is going to weigh somewhere around the 80 to 100 kilogram mark, depending on what he's got in there. A tyre that looks like it's, it could be an alloy wheel. I can't tell for sure. It's like it got a bead lock, but it could be a fake bead lock. I don't know, but it's at least going to weigh around the 50 kilogram mark. And then an awning usually weighs around the 20 kilogram mark. So right away, we're up around the 150 plus kilograms of weight on the roof at the highest point of the vehicle. That is absolutely detrimental to the vehicle and is probably a key part for the vehicle wanting to go over the way it has. Because if you think, as he's come over the edge, he's got motion carrying the back of the vehicle, and as the front goes down, that motion wants to continue going this direction. So that weight has been a key negative factor to this situation. I do have a question. If you were building a vehicle to this build, like single cab chop, you've got a canopy, you've got a really intentional and what looks to be a good build, where's the spare tyre meant to go? Why? Like, I know oftentimes when we're traveling we carry 2 spare tyres, but why isn't that spare tyre on a proper mount in a proper location on the vehicle? There may be a legitimate reason, I don't know, but it is a question I'm asking. There you go. So let's continue watching it go over onto its lid, bang. That's such a sad thing to see, but at least you know where all the pedestrians should go, eh? Now we're going to start looking at the recovery. So we start already into the process. I don't know how long it's been between rollover and setting up for this recovery. Now you can see that we've got a snatch block, we've got a bow shackle, and having watched the video a few times, I think this guy in the video at the moment, I think he's the vehicle owner. At least I see him hop in the vehicle towards the end of this video. I don't like how they've connected to the vehicle, but I'll unpack a little bit later on why I think they've ended up in this situation. But you can see that they've attached to where you'd attach your safety chains when you were towing a trailer, and you can see that they've attached such that we're drawing on the bow shackle incorrectly. Now, a bow shackle, if it's rated, and a good quality bow shackle, will have a safety factor of 5. So if it's rated at, let's see, easy mathematics for Matthew while he's doing a video, if it's rated at 1 tonne, it will have a safety rating of 5 tonnes. That doesn't mean that's where you use the safety shackle. What that means is that if it's subjected to unexpected loads, it's got a massive safety rating. So although he's connecting it up the wrong way, there's no two ways about this, the bow shackle is most likely going to be able to put up with these loads. The other factor here is how much weight are we going to be pulling onto the vehicle and onto that attachment point. We're probably going to be pulling in the region of 3 to 4 metric tonnes. We've got a double line pull on there. The winch in the vehicle doing the winching, which you'll see in a minute, that's probably rated at a 12,000 pound or thereabouts. Most people tend to go for the bigger winches these days. That's rated at just under 5 metric tonnes. Put it through a double line pull, but you can hear, as we get down the video, you'll hear the winch isn't working too hard. So I just wanted to point out how it's attached. Now, old mate's doing the right thing. He's making sure that the winch line is sitting in the soft shackle in the snatch block correctly. You can see that, and they're taking up a little bit of slack out of the line. Okay, there you go. So really good. They're taking the time to make sure their recovery gear is in place. Okay, and he gets out of the way. Okay.
They can't take the shackle off? Right.
Okay, so now they're starting to take up the load. Okay, I'll just stop that there. I just want to point out something. See the gentleman up near the recovery vehicle, and he's standing to the left side of the door. He's got the winch controller. And I really like that he's positioned himself in that place because he's out of the line of fire. If something fails, the chances of him being in the line of fire or in danger is very, very slim. So that's an excellent thing. He's also going to have good visibility of the recovery. Now, what I think they've done is they've got this vehicle anchored to a tree at the backside there, and therefore he's out of the vehicle. You don't need to be in the driver's seat in that situation, which is great. The only caveat I have to that is I'm not sure if I'm seeing at times a hand on the steering wheel of the vehicle. And if that's the case, I'm not sure why they would be there. If you've got the vehicle anchored off, you can absolutely be out of the vehicle with a winch controller so that nobody's in line of fire. So again, I don't know. I'm just trying to learn, we're trying to learn what we can see in the video. So let's continue playing. Okay. All right, so now we're really starting to take some weight. That winch will be working. Okay, so we've still got people in the door. I've just noticed that as I'm watching the video back now. Okay, I don't know why they're there. Maybe they're doing this just on brakes. Maybe they haven't got the vehicle anchored at the back. Why I don't know. There looks to be trees back there. So maybe I've made an assumption there that's incorrect. Why those people are in the vehicle then, I'm not sure. Why would you have two people? Because you can see somebody's hand is on the steering wheel and there's somebody leaning in the door. So, okay, I'm going to hold my judgment as to what's going on there. Okay, all right, so we've just got somebody moved away from the door. You can just see all this in the top right of the screen. What's the worst that could happen in this situation is a winch line fails and the vehicle drops back down. Well, that's not going to hurt the vehicle, is it? It's already done it once.
Yeah, your wheel's gonna hit.
When you're in these situations, move people out. Just get people away and don't have too many people in the scene that aren't necessary. And I know we all want a video, and you can see a lady in the orange shorts. She's videoing. Yeah, she's out of the way realistically, but does she need to be that close? Would be the question. Zoom in on your phones if you want to video this stuff. The person who's videoing the view we're seeing, they're close. And probably, again, I say they're in a safe area, but do they need to be there? They could probably zoom in and be further away. Now, you might be wondering, Matt, why are they safe there? If something was to fail, it's going to fail down the line of pull. So if, let's say, I don't know, the bow shackle comes away from the tow hitch, that tow hitch fails, the bow shackle is going to fly straight back towards the vehicle doing the recovery with the winch on it. So it's not going to fly left or right. That's the point I'm making. And that's why I say that the people are generally in an area where it's safe. Let us know in the comments if you've ever been in a situation like that, and better yet, if you've got video footage of it, I'd love to react to it and see what I can bring to the audience to help people learn from that situation. You can see that they're observing that rear wheel hitting the embankment, and they're seeing that as a bit of a concern, which is fair enough. Right now, if that winch line was to fail, that vehicle's back on its roof. It's holding all of the weight. Okay, we can see in the background there, we've now got people coming in and out of the recovery situation. That's not cool. Now, this is the difficulty of these situations. You've got a number of things probably going on. You've got other vehicles coming along who are finding the recovery, and they're all keen to get involved and see what's going on. You've got a lot of advice being offered and stuff. And then you've probably got, most of the time people do these trips with a few other vehicles and friends. So you've got a lot of people involved. And in recoveries, especially when they're hardcore recoveries like this, there's so much going on that you just need people to stay away, stay out of the way. And if you're not part of the solution, shut up. It's really frustrating when you've got, especially if you're running the recovery, it's really frustrating when you have people just interrupting and being basically a nuisance. They're trying to be helpful, or they're trying to be, you know, just see what's going on, but it's not necessarily safe, and it's certainly very, very distracting. Okay, let's continue watching.
Do you want me to winch from the other side, pull across? Or?
So you can see old mate hanging on the door of the recovery vehicle, obviously chatting to somebody inside the vehicle. The guy inside the vehicle, if you're in there, there must be a very good reason for you to be there. You need to be focused on whatever the heck it is you're doing, not talking to somebody who's yabbering away at you in the window. And whoever you are yabbering away in the door, you need to just chuff off and go away would be my suggestion, because you're not helping the situation. Okay, all right. Now, okay, now we've got cancelling everything I said earlier about I thought that the driver, the guy with the winch controller, was the only guy at the end of the recovery vehicle. We've now got 5 people hanging around the front of that vehicle. 5. We've got the guy driving the winch, we've got a guy sitting in the car, and then we've got 3 spectators. I think I've made my point. Clear the people out.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do now is they're going to bring another vehicle in to pull the vehicle sideways. There you go. So, okay, the reason they're going to do this is because of that back tyre that was getting caught up on the embankment. So as you can see there, the control that Hilux has when it's pulling, it is a Hilux, isn't it? When it's pulling backwards is not that good. And he should be spun around and doing it driving forwards. He'd have better control. And if he's automatic, driving through the brake so he can just bring the power on really nicely would be a good way to control it, rather than bouncing the rig. But hey, they're getting the job done, and for the most part, I have to say they're doing a good job. Okay, so they're bringing it over. It's really getting to that balance point now. The winch won't be under any extreme load at this point. You can see how that tyre's totally destroyed the rooftop tent. This is where winches are really good in these recovery situations, because you have the control. If that Hilux had a winch on there, put that onto double line pull, not because you want the power of a double line pull, but because you want it to slow the winch line down so that you can just do a in, and it makes the smallest amount of movement on the pull of the vehicle, and so everything just slows down and gets really controlled. That would be the ideal way to do this. I think we've got a situation here where maybe there's three vehicles in this convoy, and basically, because the 80 series is rolled over, accessing his recovery gear has been impossible. And I suspect he's got recovery gear because he's got a winch on the front, and he looks like he's, for the most part, really well set up and a well set up vehicle. He'd be crazy not to go up Cape York without all the recovery gear, but he couldn't access it. So they've had to use the recovery gear they've had in the other 2 vehicles, and of which only one of them's had a winch. So, they've been in a situation where they've not been able to access the gear that they probably had on site because of the rollover. I think, as I'm watching these guys, they're not beginners. They do have a bunch of ideas as to how to recover, how to do things safely, how to think about it, how to plan it. And I'm in no way bagging them out for what they've done here. As four-wheel drivers, it's not every day we're recovering vehicles in an extreme recovery like this. So we're all watching it post the event with all of our keyboard warrior expertise. What we're seeing these guys do here is actually pretty darn good. and in my opinion, with the gear that they've obviously got. Could they have done better? Yes, we can all do better. Considering we don't do these recoveries on a day-by-day basis, the best thing we can do is take our time, plan it out, have a good think, and just take your time recovering the vehicle and not being in a rush. So we're just about at that point where the vehicle's going to fall back to its wheels. The cab of the 80 looks like it's probably pretty good condition. It hasn't been too damaged. I hope not, because it did look like a nice rig. All right. Okay, here it goes. Yeah, you've got to be careful with that, the Hilux that's pulling the vehicle sideways. If he pulls too hard, he could actually pirouette the 80 series sideways into the rut, and that would obviously be a world of hurt. Okay, come on, get back down on your wheels. Ooh. You never like hearing those noises when you're doing a recovery like this, but that'll be coming from that bow shackle at the back there. As the vehicle's coming back to its wheels, that has to rotate, and all of that recovery mechanism has to rotate, and that's not so good. I would have much preferred to have used a soft shackle with a tree trunk protector wrapped around the chassis, or even if a length of chain wrapped around the chassis. Something like that would have been a much better recovery connection point than using the bow shackle like they used. But again, I think that comes back to they haven't got access to all of the recovery gear that they have on site. Okay. All right, here we go. There it goes. Come on, you good thing. Get back on your wheels. Okay. Oh. All right, well done, guys. Well done. Okay, you can see the gentleman in the shorts there. He's jumping into the car. He's obviously the vehicle owner. And that's an interesting comment. You can hear the old mate go, "Can you turn it on?" And if you've had a vehicle upside down like this, the last thing you're going to do is try and start that straight away. You're going to get that down on the flat ground, you're going to pull your injectors out or spark plugs out, and you're going to make sure that you can clean all of the engine oil that is undoubtedly sitting in cylinders out of that motor. Because if you don't do that, and there's a whole bunch of oil well, it'll be oil sitting in the combustion chambers, then you can potentially destroy your motor by bending a connecting rod or anything like that. So you need to clean that motor out before you try to start it. I would guess they were upside down for at least an hour, probably more, getting this recovery done. So yeah, definitely don't try and start a vehicle once it's been upside down for any length of time. So look, that's a fascinating situation to be in. I've been in something similar when my son rolled his 80 series on a family trip down in the Victorian high country, and I actually get a mate of mine, Robert Pepper, to go through and critique my recovery in that situation because I didn't get everything right. And I learnt an awful lot through that procedure recovering my son's 80. So if you would like to watch that video, well, we've got that linked in this video, so you can go and watch it and learn some more about how you tackle some of these really advanced four-wheel drive recoveries. I'm Mad Matt. Stay safe on the trails.